Good morning, Friday team call. For those of you who feel like it's a little bit too early for Christmas music, you can blame Stella for playing something before Thanksgiving, but that's okay. Hey, it is a good time of the year. So thank you, Stella, for requesting that opening music. So all right. Well, we are not going to delay. We got some folks that are jumping on here a little bit late, but it's time to get this meeting going. So let's get it kicked off. Stella, I'm going to throw it over to you to take over hosting duties.
All right. Well, you were fast and quick on the fly on that. Oh, wait a minute. Am I unmuted? I am. Okay, great.
No, I can hear you.
Okay, awesome. Well, good morning, everyone. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited to be here. I'm so happy. Thank you for playing that. The most wonderful time of the year. Oh, looks like we got the rest of the team showing up. Awesome. Well, better late than never, everybody. First of all, I just want to say how grateful and thankful I am to be here. So blessed, so honored, Chris. Like, I never take any of these granted. That's the same thing when I sit with my families. Never take it for granted. I'm so grateful for every single person that I sit with. And I'm just so grateful to be here with you all. I'm super excited about Christmas is right around the corner. And the reason, that's right, Stacy, there's my dancing buddy. The reason that I asked Chris to play that is because this is truly the most wonderful time of the year, especially for us right now, because it is the most it is the most busy time of year for us to be helping families. Like November and December and January, I can't stress that like if you're like, hey, when is a good time to call? When is a good time for this? When is a good time? Right now. It's today. It's right now. And Christmas is going to be upon us before we know it. This today, tomorrow, next week, I am so excited. I've got so many meetings piled up and I'm eager to be dialing. And thank you so much for those of you who are showing yourself. For the rest of you, come on, let us see your beautiful faces. And then, yay, awesome, look at, there's Terry, that's so amazing. So I just want to show you guys in honor of the song, this is what I wore. I know it's early, but you guys, it comes and goes so quick. So I just want to embrace every bit of it. And that's how I feel about our business right now. I want to embrace every bit of it right now, because I know pretty soon, boom, it's going to be over. And you know what they say, there's a number of different things. One is, we reap what we sow. And also, there's the pain of discipline or regret. And so I've just been working on myself to discipline myself. But before I get into all of that, I'm so sorry. I should get into leaderboards. Let me go ahead. And honestly, I kind of purposely talked to wait for more people to come on. So we'll just go ahead and get started. And you know what? The rest of you that are not on this call, you're missing out. So here we go. Let me find those leaderboards on here. Let's go in here. Is everybody having a good week? While I'm pulling up the leaderboards, somebody feel free to pop up and tell me what the best part of their week was. Oh, come on.
Oh, we're not shy, Stella. You know
exactly.
That. I just couldn't find the unmute button fast enough. I think the best part this week was I had a really, really busy week with like other parts of life, like, school and family. And so the cool thing was being able to connect with you guys in the dialing rooms, just to kind of help me refocus and to hit the phones more. So that was really, really helpful and one of the good parts of my week.
That's awesome. And Stacy, I love you so much. Thank you so much for brightening up the room in the Zoom room. Many of you, Terry, Heidi, Liz. I don't know who Galaxy S21 is. Who is Galaxy S21? Who is that? Can you unmute and tell us who you are, please?
Hi, this is Cheryl Morris.
Hey, Cheryl. Well, welcome
Hey.
to the meeting. We're super excited to have you. Cheryl was on one of the Zoom calls too. What, just out of curiosity, Cheryl, what did you get out of it? Because I know you're really brand new.
Oh, I think the most that I got out of it was just hearing you talk to the customers and knowing what to say. I mean, you gave me a lot of ideas about how to talk to people and not be anxious and be, I guess, too excited.
Well, thank you for sharing that. That means a lot to me, because what we learn how to say, obviously is on the script, but
Yeah.
You're right. Learning how to say it, that's hard. That was the hardest part for me. I can't tell you how many times in the beginning I called Chris crying because I'm like, I can't make appointments. I mean, I knew I could. It's not like I called him saying I can't make it, but I was like, I don't know why I'm not making enough appointments.
Yeah, that's how I feel right now. It's like calling people and getting rejected. And it's like, okay, maybe I need to take a break. But I know I need to keep at it.
That's awesome. You're exactly right. And we're going to talk about that today. I love that, Cheryl. Thank you so much. But until we do, let me go ahead and shoot on through the leaderboards here, which are super exciting. So we're narrowing down the team because we're getting brave and we've got so many people popping up through, if you recall, was it a month ago or 2 months ago? I can't remember, when the Vetter agency split off, and we were including them for a while, but now we have so many people sprouting up and writing more business that we want to narrow it down so we can focus on you guys. And so we're just going to go through the top 6 today for the week. So I'll start off with number 6, we had James Aaron Sparks, who I think that's a new writer. Is that a new writer, Chris? Well, James Aaron Sparks, one application with an APV of $128.64 direct to Chris Menifee. Congratulations, James. I love your last name, by the way.
Relatively new writer. So,
That's awesome.
he's not a first-time writer, but he's a relatively new writer. Yeah. So
nice. Hey, way to go. I love it. That's awesome. Great. That is awesome. And then number 5 in line is Miss Stacy Love herself. And I know you've been studying your heart out because you do school and you've got a little 3-year-old and you got, all this other. Am I sharing my screen?
no, you're not.
Okay. Well, that's all right. Do you want me to share my screen?
No, that's all right. You don't need to.
Okay. So Stacy Love, you've got one application for $357.12, and and we still have today, and we're going to open up the Zoom room again today. So those of you that have been listening in, we encourage you to join us. And I just want to pause for a minute because number 4 in place, this person had 6 applications. This person has, this past weekend, you haven't heard much, from her on crew, which, sometimes, we get busy in our life, and I get it for, one reason or another, but 6 applications, that's a big deal. That's amazing. Casey always said he would rather have somebody who had more applications than the APV, because it means that many more people you help, and there's that much emotional labor going into it. So this, number 4, Miss Terry Myers, I'm so proud of you with 6 applications for an APV of $1,824.60. Way to go. That's huge. And I know you got more business that you're planning on writing today. So way to go. That's amazing. That's why I call you Super App Girl. And number 3, we have Donna Bates with 2 applications for $2,289.96 direct to Blair. And let me just congratulate you again on reaching 90%, if my memory serves me correct, which is so amazing, so deserving. You're the lady of perseverance. And Stacy Love, you both you ladies hit the 10,000 a week mark in the last 2 weeks. And I can't remember if it was last week or the week before. The weeks are starting to mesh together. But just awesome production here, you guys. And number 2, Spencer Cushian, the Ghost, with 3 applications for $3,214.32 direct to Chris Menifee. And then Stella Dinwiddie herself with 7 applications, only 1 more than Miss Terry Myers. And it's a race to see who gets the most apps this week, because we still have until midnight tonight, with an APV of 6,600 direct to Chris Menifee. That's the week to date. Let's go to the month to date, because Chris sent that to me. So I think he wants me to talk about that. And the month to date, he included everybody in his hierarchy. And so we're going to go with the top 10. So if you're not in the top 10, don't feel bad, you guys. We're so grateful, and we recognize your hard work. But starting off with number 10 is Brad Higgins with 3 apps with an APV of $4,397 direct to Eric Sullivan. Number 9 is Miss Heidi Rhea, who is a totally new writer with, I'm so excited, 3 applications for $5,294 direct to moi. And number 8 is Sophia Williams with 8 applications. Wow. With an APV of $6,580 direct to her husband, Marcus, which I think is so cool. Number 7 is the Ghost himself, Blair Cushian, with 8 apps for $7,508 direct to Chris Menifee. Oh my gosh, look at this. Number 6, Daryl Morgan with 5 applications direct to 5 applications, APV $8,225 direct to Jenny Gray, who just made team leader or key leader, one of the two. Forgive me.
Key leader.
A team leader?
No, key leader.
Key leader. Thank you. Key leader, our Jenny girl. Love spending time with her at the Cemetery Lake House with you, Chris, and everybody else. That was amazing. And then you yourself, Chris, is number 5 on the list. Look at you with 3 applications, leading from the front for $10,748 direct to Mr. Scott Make. And then number 4 is Jenny Gray herself with 11 applications, month to date of $14,696 direct to John Paul. And then Donna Bates, woohoo, look at that, with 14 applications with an APV of $16,708 direct to the Ghost Blair Cushian. And Blair, I'm going to keep calling you the Ghost until you show up over here. And number 2 is Stacy Love. Dang, girl. I said D-A-M-G, dang, girl, with 16 applications. I need new glasses. For $19,000 and $239 direct to Chris Menifee. Oh my gosh, you guys, look at all of these. And then Stella Dinwiddie, who is that girl? She had 23 applications so far month to date with an APV of $26,374. And her goal, you guys, is to write $40,000 in APV. So that's either going to happen this month or next month. I guarantee it. I just don't know what. God willing, 40,000 APV. That is coming. So congratulations to everybody on those leaderboards. That's amazing. Super excited to have all you guys here. Super excited to be able to share with you today. Every time I get on these calls, my biggest goal is to make an impact, make a positive impact. How can I help you? What can I do or say that's going to help you with your business? In the same way that when I first started here, and I knew nothing, fell on my face, you know, was looking for resources, looking for answers, looking for advice, guidance, the whole bit. Thank God for Chris Menifee to help me along the way. And thank God for Cemetery Financial Group's wealth of resources through SoundCloud, through you guys are spoiled. Today, we didn't have Fast Track. And I'm so proud of you guys for going through that process. Those of you like Jim, Arch, I see you on the call. This guy is like, he's like a what's next guy, you know, took his test. Hey, how do I get it uploaded? Hey, what's next? Okay, hey, I did the fast track, Stella. Says here for me to send you my recording. He did it. Next thing, what's next? Oh, it says here to make a meeting with you. He's just like boom, 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 boom. So I'm super excited for those of you taking advantage of the phenomenal training that's on there. Because many of us who started here, been here about 2.5 years. I know, Terry, you're not here that long, but you remember when we first started, honestly, we were kind of trying to maneuver through different resources. Okay, listen to that piece from over here. Listen to this. But now it's all funneled into one awesome, amazing training center on Quality. And so if you feel like, well, I didn't get that training, well, then go back and do the training because it's all right there. And it's amazing. And it will refresh your mind. And I am so passionate about what I get to share with you today. I named it Emotional Labor, and I stole it, the title, from a SoundCloud audio that I listened to on the SoundCloud agent training on Symmetry Financial Group. And I'm so passionate about it because that's what we do here, you guys. It is an emotional purchase. We do not sell anything. We connect with people. That's why our number one core value, who here on this call knows what our number one core value is out of all of our core values? Open up your mic and speak it, please.
Relationships matter. People come first.
Yeah, no, say it all at the same time. Let's say it together. Come on, you guys.
Relationships matter. People come
People
first.
come first. Amen. That's exactly right, you guys. Relationships matter. My relationship with you, Terry, does it matter?
Yes, Stella, it matters very much. I wouldn't be here without you.
And likewise, I wouldn't be an agency owner if it weren't for you, Terry, because you helped me get to my agency owner status. I wouldn't be here without Chris Menefee's guidance. I wouldn't be here for many of you. So I am super, and that's, you know, these families, they're so grateful for us to help them, you guys. Last night was a perfect example. It was like God was like, okay, you want something to talk about? Here's something for you to talk about. So the last night I had this appointment, and I knew when I made that appointment, they were talkers, but I didn't expect that appointment, you guys. I used to hear them say, love the one you're with. That appointment started at 6 o'clock. I kid you not. We ended off of the Zoom call at about 9:55 p.m., almost 10 p.m. It was about 4 hours long. Not all of them are that long. Some of them are only an hour long. My average is about 2 hours long because I talk a lot and because because I want to hear what my people have to say. I want to know what my families have to say to me. It's an emotional labor. Our job is emotionally charged. And last night, the reason it went so long is because this guy, he was a talker, and his wife joked about he's Irish and all that, but he is a talker. And you know what? And so is she. They were married 43 years. They were the most adorable couple. And they just, everything that I asked them, they would go long and tell me about every which reason why their answer was their answer. And guess what? I let them go. I let them talk. Why? Because while they're talking, I'm listening and I'm taking notes. And it's for a number of reasons. Number one, I'm validating them. I'm listening to what they say, and then I'm telling them back. I'm validating them. And I learned early on, well, I wish I learned really, really early on, but I learned early on how important validating anybody I'm listening to is. My son was the first one to tell me that, and I wasn't always good at it. And he's like, no, you're not listening, Mom. I just need you to validate me. And I was like, oh my gosh, Okay, talk about being told that you're not a good listener. That was me. So it was a hard lesson for me to learn, but I'm still learning it. The other thing is that you're going to hear answers from your family that if you interrupt them, you could miss on a super important piece of information that they're going to share with you that can make a huge difference in you pivoting to a different plan or confirming that what you have in place, yeah, that's good. This is perfect for them. And it's not for me to decide, it's for them. So, and we're going to talk about that. So emotional labor is, I wish that I could just, part of me wanted to play the audio for you, because this guy, Ed Orell, who he does an amazing job of outlining and really laying the whole process of why it's important. But I did take notes, and I wrote some things down. I'm going to share that with you on emotional labor and why it's so important. Number one, you know, it's what we do. We've been talking about that, right? Even from the initial phone call. Yes, we don't want to spend a lot of time on the call. Right. We're not trying to, you know, help them over the phone on the call, unless you've been doing it a long time and you're out there going fishing for people, as we call it, and you can help them on the spot. That'll come later. If you're brand new, don't worry about that. Just make the appointments. You want to get in front of at least 30 people to get the hang of it. That's the general rule of thumb I've been hearing. But you want to make those appointments. And when you're making those appointments, it starts there. You're asking them questions, and you're letting them give you those answers. And one of the most important questions that you must be asking them, obviously, you know, qualification questions like your medical diagnosis, but the one most important question is, why is this coverage important to you? Like, what did you want it to do for you? Were you looking to cover just you, or both you and your husband? And you'll notice there's assumptive language in there, and that is an emotionally charged question. And sometimes the people say, oh, well, you know, in case I die, I just want, you know, make sure that we're going to be okay. I don't stop there. I just ask one last simple question, and I've been learning to do this, and now I'm doing it even more. And people on the Zoom room will hear me ask them this. Hey, Stacy, I know it's a silly question, but you know, I'm required to ask you, why is that important to you? And I just let them, and I have learned that that awkward silence has become a comfort to me in my conversations with them. Where in the beginning, I hated it because I don't know what to expect, you know, but now I love that awkward silence because I know they're thinking, and I know that means they care. And they, you know, and they'll tell me, well, because, you know, I mean, gosh, you know, if something happened to me, I mean, like if something happened to her, you know, I've got all kinds of pension, you know, I've got this and that, I'll be okay. But if something happened to her, I don't know that she'll be able to stay in the house. That's huge. So I'm writing that down. And then I validate them and I say, okay, I understand. That's very common. And you know, and I compliment them on that. And then, you know, make that appointment. So it starts there. When I move it into the presentation, I'm going to ask them again. I want to bring out that emotion again, because that's important. Because again, I'm not getting onto the presentation of like, okay, I'm going to come in here and sell you on blah, blah. That's not what we do. It is an emotional labor of asking questions and hearing them explain to us what's important to them. And we get paid as much as we are emotionally delivering. Who here feels like comfortable answering that? And it's okay, there's no wrong answer. I really want to engage you guys on this because this is such a powerful piece of our presentation. Who here would want to give a shot at like, well, yeah, Stella, that means fill in the blank, that we get paid as much as we are emotionally delivering to our clients. Somebody pop in. Okay, so that's okay. So I will say, we get paid as much as we are emotionally delivering. What that means is that if I go in there like a vendor and I'm just gonna give them quotes, I'm anxious, I'm eager to like, okay, I'm just gonna tell them this is what's gonna do for you and here's the price. I'm a vendor. You do not want to be a vendor. If you're a vendor, you're just another number. You're just another sales agent who called. That is not who we are. That is not who you are. You care about these people. You care about what happens to them if they die. You guys were on a Zoom room with me yesterday. There were 2 people that I talked to that their spouse was just diagnosed with a terminal illness. One of them was this husband and wife I talked to a while back, and we were going to make an appointment, but her husband, went fishing. So I had to wait for him to come back. Following up. Guess what she tells me yesterday? Stella, she calls me and I'm like, oh, hey, this is a follow-up call. And and people on Zoom room got to hear it. She's like, Stella, I'm so sorry. I just wanted to call you and I got your message. I'm not able to do this right now anymore. I really wanted to do this, but my husband just went to the doctor for his visit and they told us that he has cirrhosis of the liver. And I don't know if he has 4 months or 6 months to live now. You guys, when I talked with her 3 weeks ago, the guy was healthy. All the stats I wrote down, he was healthy. She said, he's vibrant, oh yeah, nothing's wrong with him, nothing at all. And I know she felt horrible and bad. I wasn't going to make her feel bad. I just sympathized with her. And I said, I am so sorry. I said, now, are you sure? Did they give him that timeline? Because, sometimes, and I told her some other positive things about surviving diseases and, stuff. And she said, well, Stella, let me just say it this way. When I went in there and I asked that doctor, okay, what are we looking at? She told me, and she said the word very 4 times. She said, she looked me dead in the eye and said, his liver is very, very, very sick. And sorry, it makes me emotional talking about it because I put myself in her place. And she's like, my husband was on the other side of the room with his head between his knees, hunched over because he'd already talked to her. He couldn't even look up at me. So I know what that means. She's like, so I just need to process all this right now. She goes, I'll come back to you and we'll do a plan on me. And I can't handle anything right now. And I said, no worries. I understand. And because now she's looking at, she doesn't have any coverage. But she could have if she, so when we go in there, these are the kind of questions that are emotionally charged. And so when we're with our client and we're connecting with them, we're not just giving numbers. We're not just going to the quote. We're not just there to tell them what it's going to do for them. It's all about on the opposite end of the pendulum of us asking them, what do you want it to do for you? What does it look like if you don't have this in place? Those are emotionally charged questions. Walk me through that so I can understand how to best help you. Because, hey, Bob, I don't want to recommend something to you. Maybe you don't even need this. And if they don't need it, I'm not going to recommend it. But chances are they need it because they responded. Only 1% of all these people that turn in those sheets, they either know they have a problem or they think they do, or they want to add to their portfolio. So that's what it means by emotionally delivering, is you are connecting with them. If you go in there as a vendor status, you've given no emotion, you've not put any any effort into really making it about them instead about me. If I make it about me and, oh, you know, how much can I write? Shame on me, because that's not what it's about. And you want to stay away from vendor status. And each presentation needs to be fresh. I love how this guy on that audio, and I will share it with you guys, I'll post it in here. He talks about how, you know, he gives this analogy about when he talked about like some, this goes way back, you can tell it's really old, but he talks about how when Brandon and Casey went to go see some concert from Dire Straits, and he's talking about, yeah, you know, the lead singer, you know, when he gets on stage, he is, every time he goes on stage, any singer, whoever it is, Journey, you know, Elton John, the Beatles, whoever it is, every time they go on stage, like they give a phenomenal performance. Like you would think it was their first time out there. They're so excited. They're jumping up and down on the stage. You know, they're like, you know, singing right to you, the people in the front row and reaching out to them, and people are going crazy. And, you know, I mean, they just throw all their emotion into it. All the power comes out in their voice. And that's what they do every single time they go on stage. And this guy in his analogy of us, when we're with our families, it's emotionally charged, where we go into it like it's the first time, even though it's the 100th time. I've written probably at least over 300 applications. I had to look on my plaque. In 2020, I got an award for writing 290 applications. I've sat with over 300 families. Every single time I go in, it's a fresh presentation, no matter what's happened in my day, no matter if I've been arguing with my family, and no matter if I'm worried about my finances, no matter if I'm worried about someone on my team or my, I don't know, whatever it is. I don't feel good. I don't feel like it. I have to leave all my baggage at the door. And you know what? I'm here for you, my family. I need to understand this is not about me. This is, you know what? This is an emotionally driven presentation that I give of myself to you to best serve you. So I'm going to ask all the right questions to make sure I understand what you need. And I'm going to tell you, you know, hey, you know, let me know, because maybe you don't need this. And also it serves two things when you do that. Number one, it's going to tell your family, it's going to let their defenses down, because they're already expecting, oh, you're going to come. What are you trying to sell me? It's like, I'm not here to sell you anything. And I can't tell you how many people say that to me on the phone. You guys hear it all the time. Stacy's shaking her head. Yeah, because she hears it all the time. People, I put the phone on speaker and you can hear the other person on the line saying, okay, what are you trying to sell me? And immediately when I hang up, I tell people on the Zoom, I'm like, oh, I must be talking too fast. Because if they start asking me a lot, what do you hear sell? Now I sound like a telemarketer. Now I got to slow it down. And I have to pretend like I'm calling from a doctor's office, and I'm calling to make your doctor's appointment. And sometimes I tell my team, pretend like you're talking to a cancer patient, because I know how my doctor talks to me being a cancer patient, and they're very caring. They want to know, how are you, Stella? They care about me. And that's what I want my family to know, that I care about them. And that's why it's so emotionally driven. It's a connection. So each presentation must be fresh, emotionally charged, like it was the first time, because we owe it to them. They deserve that. Our APVs, sometimes can be like last night, I was like, trying to use it as an example. And I was thinking, okay, even at 4 hours and my APV was like about 2,000 and I'm at 95% contract level. So, in my bank, just to give an example of, because I'm there for my family, but we're also here to make a living. So on the other side, even if I spent 4 hours with them, which was, I had fun. It was the funnest time. Okay, let's just say on the worst side, someone brand new, their commission was over $1,000, 1,000, say 1,100 divided by 4 hours. That's, oops, I did that wrong. Divided by 4. That's almost $300 an hour. Like, to sit there and have a good time with the family. And if I spent 2 hours with them, now it's like, what is that? $600 an hour. Like, that's insane. We owe it to them. We get paid way too much to not give of ourselves to them. So every part of our labor is connecting with them. It's not about the price of the policy. Trust me, it's not. They'll tell you it is. And yeah, does it need to fit in our budget? Yes, of course it does. But that's why we do all of the legwork on the back end to give them options. And as an example, I thought, I'm just going to share with you the presentation that I showed him. And this, Liz, I see you on there. And I know you got kids oftentimes running around the background, so that's why you keep your video off. But you remember last night, and I was showing you how I put that presentation together at the end of our Zoom call. Well, this was the one. And when I first can you give me screen sharing rights, Chris, please? Okay, do I have the power now? Awesome. Okay, so this one, these are options, and get with your mentor. And hey, just as a reminder, those of you that hop on the Zoom call, when I start making appointments, I bring all these up and I let you see how I'm putting it together, like from the carrier to adding up the cost and to how I lay it out for them. So you get to see all of that go down, because I'm usually, if I'm on Zoom all day long, I'm going to help somebody. I know that. It's a given. And it will be for you too, if you plug in and you're doing the activity. The only difference, you guys, hold on, I just got to share this because it's heavy heart. The only difference between me and you guys, I am nothing great. Ask my family, all my friends. All that I do, the only difference is that I believe that I can help families, and I'm determined, and I do the activity. That's it. So is the activity and the belief. That's it. Like, if I didn't do the activity, but I had all the belief, I'm not going to post numbers, like I do. If I do all the activity, but I don't believe in myself, I'm not going to post the kind of numbers that I do. My numbers aren't even that great if you compare them to, big, huge leaderboards, but but I spend a lot more time with my families. I know I do, but that's okay. I'm only competing with myself, and the competition I have with myself is to progressively get better. And so that's my goal, and that should be your goal, because we're never here to compete with each other or anybody else. It's only competing with what's inside of us in here. So back to that presentation, sorry. This is the one that you saw me walk through last night, Liz, and I protected Harold. And Harold was my talker, and so was his wife, Kathy. They were married 43 years. I learned everything about them. Next time they come up to this area, I invite them over for dinner, and like, come over to my house for dinner. They're just the most amazing couple. I love this family. Anyways, option number 1, you'll see I bundled it. I say, hey, you'll pay this, Harold, you will pay the house off for Kathy if it's accidental death. And I make sure they understand what that means. It means if you die of an accident, Kathy, you get a check in your hand for $235,000. And what if you don't die of an accident? Now you give her almost 3 years of mortgage payments. You're giving her time to grieve. You're giving her time to figure out how to keep that house or sell it when you're no longer here. And I just round it up or down. It's $232 a month. I don't put the cents in here. Option 2 is a middle ground. You know, you pay the house off for Kathy if it's an accidental death. That means, Kathy, you get a check in your hand because their mortgage was $195,000 and their mortgage payment was $1,069. And when I'm going through this, some couples catch on to it really fast. Others don't. He caught on to it pretty quick. Kathy did not so much, but that's okay. So I probably explained it to her about 5 different times. But we learned to be patient because we take it for granted that, oh yeah, we understand this, but they don't. And if you're brand new, you may not fully understand this. So I'll break it down to you as if you're a brand new client. So what that means is that, let's go on down to option number 3. You pay the house down or you pay it off. They had a 20-year mortgage, $195,000. So when I say pay it down or off, that means, hey, you know, God willing, you're here in 10 years, but now your mortgage is down to $100,000. Well, now Kathy can pay it off if you died of an accident. She can take that check and go pay it off. If you died tomorrow or next week, and yeah, I say that, if you died, you know, because we're all going to die. We just don't know when. Nobody escapes it. So now, if you die of an accident, and before I go into accidental death, my team knows I labor about accidental death because I want them to understand the value in it. And I talked about, do you know what the top 3 leading causes of death? Because to me, it's powerful. And that is honestly why I have $500,000 of accidental, because it's cheap and they don't ask me any medical questions. And I can get more coverage. So I've added to all of my other whole life plans because I don't qualify for a lot of what my family does. And I tell them that. So I can sympathize with a lot of them who don't, all of my older clients who don't qualify for one reason or another. You know, I'm on a graded plan. I only, I'm approved of an ROP because I have to put on my application that I've had 2 or more cancers in a lifetime. So I'm either knocked out or I get the bottom line. So guess what? And I don't know how I'm going to die. Do you? And they'll say no. Exactly. But if I know statistically that accidental death is the 3rd leading cause of death in all of the United States, and I give them examples, it's not just getting hit by a drunk driver, can also be choking on something. If no one's there to help you, it can be falling off a ladder. We live in a crazy world today. People get stabbed, people get shot, they get caught in the middle of a bad situation. It's not even their fault. And then, and I'll ask them, do you know of anybody who's ever died of an accident? Last night, Harold and Kathy sat there for 15 minutes and told me of family and friend members who did. One of them was a young 40-year-old father. She told me about, who fell down and literally hit his head, and like they couldn't save him because, what do you call it? It just, all the blood rushed, and filled up his skull and he died. And I can't remember what the other example Harold gave to me was, but, these were examples, and I'm like, that's right. So, I understand we're trying to stay within budget. I only go through this after they have told me that they need it and why they need it. That's the only time I'm going to go through the quotes. If they tell me they don't need it, they give me every excuse. And there was a couple of times when they were like, well, she could sell this off, she could do this. So I actually interjected and I said, okay, hold on, because they were long talkers. So I said, sorry, I just need to understand. So if I want to make sure, because I'm kind of getting mixed signals. Am I hearing you tell me that because you feel like she could sell the China, she can sell the truck, she can sell, the RV, that you're set, like you don't need this insurance? And I was quiet, and he goes, no, that's not what we're saying at all. No, we need it. It's just, we're just saying, you asked us, what is our backup plan? Well, that's, we talked about this the other night, Stella, actually. And we said, well, God, if something happened to me, that's what she would do. And so I said, okay, I just want to make sure I understood, because I had to hear them tell me they needed it. So they told me. So back to option 3, so I say, okay, you can pay the house down or pay it off for Kathy if it's an accidental death. If it, has to be death by an accident, she'll get a check for 110,000. If it's not an accidental death, Harold, Kathy, it's never our philosophy. It's never about how much the death benefit is. It's what is it going to do for you, and does it meet your budget? And in this case, I heard you guys telling me, we looked through your income and outgoing that, yeah, we're on a budget. So it's $10,000 of a whole life plan. And we've already covered, the pros and cons, difference between whole life and term. If you're new, don't worry about it. But whole life. And so that whole life plan is 10,000. So what I did, Kathy and Harold, is I bundled 100,000 of accidental and 10,000 of whole life. Whole life is going to pay out if you die of any reason, except for suicide in the first 2 years. But other than that, if you died of any reason, it's going to pay out that 10,000. If you died of an accident, now it's going to pay out 110,000. We've already established that, accidents can happen to anybody. You guys know a lot of people, we know it's the third leading cause. So, it's statistically, it can happen, right? Right. So if you die of an accident, now you're putting a check for 110,000 in Kathy's hand. If you don't die of an accident, now you're giving her, it's what you're doing for her. It's what you're able to do for her. Kathy, you told me that you didn't care about everything else. You were just worried about the mortgage payment. Well, here you go. This is a check in your hand for 1 year mortgage payments. So now you don't have to worry during that first year of, being lowballed on someone trying to, lowball you on your house if you decide to sell it and downgrade like you were talking about. And she told me that their house, so their mortgage loan on it was 195,000, but she said they had it appraised recently. It was well over 400,000. And she's like, I've already had people trying to call us, saying, I'll give you 150,000, or I'll give you 200,000. And she told me, she goes, I told them, excuse me, I just had it appraised. No, thank you. And she goes, I told them, yeah, you want to pay me $1 million? I'll sell it to you. But here's from me listening to her say that, I was able to validate that I was listening to her, and I used her own words. And I said, you don't want someone trying to lowball you if you're in a panic and you're trying to figure out how to make ends meet in that first year. So now you have that peace of mind, and Harold, you can, be there to help her when you're not here to help her. And she can use that towards a year of mortgage payments. She doesn't have to worry about someone, in a rush to sell the home. It gives her time to just figure it out, because like when you're gone, Kathy, is your employer going to tell you, hey, I'm so sorry you're not feeling, like coming into work. We'll give you a year off for bereavement pay. No, they give you like 6 stinking measly days of bereavement pay. Like, is that enough time for anybody to grieve? I don't think so. And, and I just listen, and they tell me, no, absolutely not. And so that it helps them to understand the value of that time. So I go through that, and that's what we did. And there was, a whole lot more in delivering emotional labor that I can go through, but I really wanted to end the call with sharing with you guys this audio that I heard, because a lot of what we do is all about how we feel going into our week, how our mindset is. You hear it all the time, but it can't be more true. You guys hear me say it all the time, but one of my favorite sayings from Brian Tracy is I'm looking on my wall. It's not that I don't know what to do, because there were weeks when I'm like, what do I can't figure it out. What do I need to do to, get a good week? And, why aren't I motivated? What do I need to do? That's not it. That's not the answer. It's not about me trying to motivate myself. It's not about not knowing what to do, but rather that I don't have the discipline to just do what I know I need to do, whether I feel like it or not. No excuses. From the book, No Excuses. Or you can look it up on YouTube, that audio. But that's what it's about, because here's what'll happen is when you start dialing when you just start putting yourself in front of people, man, you know, magic happens. Like when you just go in there with a mindset of, you know, helping people, I'm just here to listen to you. I just want to get to know you. You know, that's where the magic starts happening. And in that audio, which I'm going to post here before I forget for you guys, he talks about that. He says, you know, we've all had a 0 4 5 week, you know, where we don't perform. And he said, you know what I do? He says, I go back and I think about the person who made me feel good, who told me, you know what, Terry, Stacy, you know, any one of you on here, Donna, you know, gosh, you know, thank you so much. You know, I am so grateful that you called. I'm so grateful that, you know, we took care of this or whatever is the person who made you feel the best when you helped that last couple, you know who they are, call them. Just give them a call and say, hey, how are you doing? I just wanted to, hold on, I'm going to send this. I just want to touch base and see how you were doing, because those people, they will make your day, and they'll remind you of why you do what you do. Let me see. So sorry. I'm going to post this in here in the chat. And yes, Stacy, we'll have an ugly sweater contest. I agree. Let's see. Did that paste? There we go. Okay, so that is the SoundCloud on emotional labor, which I highly encourage all of you to listen to. I've probably listened to it about 20 times since I've started here, especially in the beginning. And I listened to it again because I just like it. It's just a great reminder of everything that we're talking about. And there's a whole lot more that I didn't cover because I talk a lot. But there is one audio that I listened to recently that I really wanted to share with you, because remember I was talking to you about how it's a mindset. Remember how we talk about every morning, you know, you know, the first hour of our day is our rudder of the day. Like, what direction are we going to put ourselves? You know, do we, you know, start off with the news? You know, do we start off with thinking about what went wrong? That's normal. We have to learn how to switch it, turn gears, you know, and this has been one of my favorites. So I'm just going to play it real quick. It's pretty short. Let me find it on here. Here we go. And it's called The Enemies of Success. And somebody recently had asked me about it. And so I'm like, you know what? I think this would be amazing for everybody to hear. So I'm going to play this real quick. Can you hear? Can you give me a thumbs up if you can hear?
Life is part negative, so we got to talk about the negative. And this subject is called diseases of
Take notes.
attitude. Diseases of attitude. There's a lot of things that can wreck your chances to do well. We live in a rather dangerous world, so you got to be not only wise, you got to be careful. Now, attitude diseases are just as bad as physical diseases, right? High blood pressure, heart trouble. I mean, a lot of things lace your chances to do well. So you got to be careful. And attitude diseases are deadly. I mean, they'll destroy all the good things you start. These attitude diseases are like weeds that grow in the garden. It's a normal part of life. Here's a good phrase to note. Negative is normal. It's not successful, but it's normal. It's part of life. And here's the next key, in my opinion. You must learn to handle the negative. Don't ignore it. Handle it. Now, I know some people teach the other way. And listen to them. And listen to me. And then make up your own mind. Right? Don't be a follower. Be a student. But I say you got to handle the negative. You don't have to live in it. You don't have to dwell on it. But you do have to handle it, my opinion. Here's what part of it is. It's called the Great War between good and evil. And there is a war on. The minute you were born, you got involved in the war. between good and evil, between darkness and light, between negative and positive, between evil and good, between tyranny and democracy, between weeds and human activity. I mean, the war is on. If democracy sleeps, guess who never sleeps? Tyranny. In the absence of light, guess what's automatic? Darkness. If good does not arouse itself and become active, guess what moves in? Evil. It's a war. A mental war, a physical war, a financial war, between enterprise and ease, between accomplishment and failure. It's a war. That's why there's an Old Testament phrase that gives the best advice for human activity when it says, 6 days labor, 1 day rest. Now, I'm sure we've taken that to mean, don't work all 7 days, take one off. Here's what it also means. Only take one off, or you're liable to lose the war. Now, we've got it down to 5 and 2, and maybe that's not too dangerous. I don't know. If God would have thought of 5 and 2, he might have made it 5 and 2. I don't know. But here's what it does mean. Enterprise is better than ease. If you rest too long, the jungle overtakes the village. Now, here's the good news about the war between good and evil. Evil is no match for good, but good must be active. Weeds are no match for human activity, but if you stand still, how far in will they come? All the way. They'll grow right up around your shoes. But if you get busy, how far back can you take them? As far as you wish. They're no match, but you must be active. That's why the 6 and 1. Make sure you're not losing the war by taking off too much. Guess what the average years are after retirement? 6. Which means don't retire. Your chances are too slim. The war between good and evil, the weeds. You've got to make sure you recognize the negative, handle it, deal with it, and then go on. Let's make a list of the diseases of attitude that can wreck all your chances to do well. One of the words that destroys everything is called neglect. And I found this out. A week of neglect could cost you a year of repair. It isn't worth it. So what to be on the lookout for? Here's the list. If you were making it, you'd have the same list I've got. Right, we're not covering anything new tonight. This is a reminding session, not a teaching session. But it doesn't hurt to go over it again. Here's the list. Attitude diseases. Number 1 is indifference. The shrug of the shoulder. The guy's not even concerned. He's just drifting. This is called the mild approach to life. A disease known as mildness. The guy says, well, I can't see getting all that worked up. Well, to be any kind of winner, you got to get worked up. There's one problem with drift. You cannot drift to the top of the mountain. And the good Lord said in the closing chapters of the Bible, here's the best way to live, one way or the other. That's best. Hot or what's next best? Cold is next best to hot. Not the half-baked middle, lukewarm, not too hot, not too cold. What a sad way to live. I think what it means is pick a direction and go with everything you got. Just pick one and go. Somebody says, yeah, well, what if it's the wrong direction? You'll find out quicker. It won't take you 25 years to wake up and say, oh no, I've been walking the wrong road. I told my staff the other day, next best to prosperity is adversity. If one doesn't get you, pray for the other. We all do better for one of 2 reasons, inspiration or desperation. And I don't wish anything bad on you tonight, but if you're not inspired, I hope a wagon comes down your ruts. Whatever it takes to get you to try harder, read more, set your goals, and go for it. Somebody asked me one time, what quality would I pick if I wanted to work with somebody? And you know what I picked first? Number 1, strong feeling. Please, number 1, give me somebody that feels strong. About most anything, I don't even care. Just so they believe it. Even if they disagree with me. Wonderful. Just so they disagree vigorously. I'm not saying it's easy to win those kind of people to your point of view, but I'd rather do that than to try to resurrect people from the dead. Pump them up every month, pump them up, pump them up. Here's the key to the good life. Learn to put everything you've got into everything you do. Whatever you are doing, pour it on. It will quickly open up into opportunity or quickly disclose to you that you ought to be doing something else. The delusion is, if I had a better job, I'd really pour it on. See, that's delusion. Wherever you are, pour it on. Don't give somebody half a job for a day's pay. Pour it on. See, that'll help change your life. Get rid of this disease. Here's the next attitude disease, indecision, mental paralysis. The guy can't make up his mind and it becomes a disease. Pretty soon he knows he's got it. The guy says, well, I know I'm on the fence. But he says, what if I get off on the wrong side? Listen, after a while, it doesn't matter. Just get off. Any side will do. A life full of adventure is a life full of many decisions. The ones that turn out to be wrong give you better experience to make better decisions. So don't see how many decisions you can get out of, see how many you can get into. That's where the adventure is. So shake off this disease, indecision. The next one is doubt. Doubt's like a plague. And one of the worst is self-doubt. There are many, but that's one of the worst. The guy doubts himself. Doubts if it'll last that long for him. Doubts if he can do that well. Doubts if he can make that much. Doubts if he can accomplish all that. A chronic, excellent self-doubter. You can imagine what damage that does to your future. So here's the key. Turn this coin over and become a believer. And there's many things to believe in. One of the majors is yourself. The understanding of self-worth is the beginning of progress. Now, if those three don't get you, this one will. Worry. That's a devastating disease. Worry. Worry causes health problems, social problems, personal problems, family problems. It's devastating. Worry long enough, it'll drop you to your knees. Could reduce you to begging. I know how bad this one is. I used to have it bad. I used to be known as a super worrier, not a super warrior. No, super worrier. My family wished I'd have been a warrior. I got those years to make up for. But I'll tell you what, my advice to you is do what I finally did. On worry, give it up. Who needs it? I'm not.
All right, it's after 9, it's 9:02. I would, there's not too much longer on that, but I wanted to, I know Terry has an appointment. She's set herself up today, but I just really wanted to thank you guys. Thank you for being here. You don't have to be here. I know you're here because you have a passion to help people and you're excited about this business opportunity, and we're excited for you guys to be here. So, Chris, do you have anything that you wanted to close with before we head out? Oh, one thing is I am going to open up the dial room. I have one appointment. I have a couple appointments, but my first one is 12 noon. So I'll open up for a couple of hours if anybody wants to hop on with me.
Awesome call, Stella. Great job. Great thoughts. Really appreciate you and everything that you do. You are an awesome example, and hopefully everybody was taking notes this morning, getting some great data. So yeah, just wrapping up a couple announcements. Remember, guys, we got a contest going. Anybody that writes 30K in the month of November, still got plenty of time. Like I said, we've got until the end of next week. And do not tell me that Thanksgiving is not a week to write business. It's an excellent week to write business. And you're going to have a lot of people that are going to be more available, not less available. So take advantage of that. We've got several people that are on track to hit that number. So $500 Amazon card. Also, yeah, Stacy, we're going to, we'll come up with a little fun contest around the sweater thing. That's a good idea. Don't know what that'll look like, but let's do that for December. We've kind of already broken the Christmas rule, playing Christmas music this morning before Thanksgiving, but that's okay. We'll go ahead and get a contest going for post Thanksgiving, rolling into December. So great job, Stella. We'll go ahead and wrap it up, and let's push hard for the end of the month, guys.
Thank you,
to set up your holiday for a great time.
Awesome. Thank you.